bienvenidos a Deuces Wild, motherfuckers!
Good to be here.
Oh, thrill. We are joined with a special guest tonight, Huston Street. Welcome,
Good to be here.
dude.
Welcome. Thank you. Thanks for
Right
having me.
back at
Nice
you,
to meet you,
Houston,
Phil.
man. Congratulations.
Heck yeah, dude.
Thanks to be on the show. It's good to have first off, a pitcher in the middle of these hitters. That's first off. But then second off, a hell of a quality closer you were for a long time, man. You saw the nitty gritty from the end of the game. So nice job.
So,
Thank you, dude.
Thrill, you mentioned it right off the get. As soon as I mentioned that Houston and I were staying in the same house, he goes, University of Texas, boy.
I saw her.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
School right now.
Hey,
Dude, I mean,
Finishing up.
so,
look, you watch him when he's on TV and closing out the games, and then all of a sudden, 2 years later, he's in the show punching people out, man.
So you said closing out games because basically you reinvented the closer role at University of Texas, literally closing out games 5, 6, 7 innings.
Well, yeah, that was yes, kind of. I mean, there were some guys who did it before me, right? There were other guys at UT. We had Brooks Kieschnick who came in. Jesse Crane did it in Houston, but most everybody, Chad Cordero. But my role kind of expanded to, if we were winning after 5, I was in the game. And we also had a lot of other studs on the team. We had JP Howell and Drew Stubbs and Curtis Thigpen and Sam LeCure. And we had a lot of big leaguers. So we were winning a lot of games by 6, 7 runs. So we had the luxury of saying, all right, we're up by 1 in the 5th, Street's in. He's going to go 4 on Friday and maybe 1 or 2 on Sunday.
And you had the luxury to play for Augie Garrido.
The best.
Fucking savage.
Yes. I literally was talking about him the other day with somebody and just kind of talking about how, and what's fascinating is I'll go back and watch on some of the YouTube and things, not the one where he's screaming that everybody knows, but some of these other smaller videos. And we have footage of him too at UT in like the archives, and just the beauty of what he talks about, the process and staying in the moment and trusting yourself and relationships, right? Like this entire idea of like the number one reward in the game is not success or championships, but relationships, respect. And he taught us that, and he made us a good team too. Like that was the whole point, right? Like we wanted to earn each other's respect. And by doing that, we worked our asses off, and by working our asses off, we got good. And then we made each other better. But I mean, he didn't care if we fought in practice. He loved intensity. He loved the idea of a best effort, staying in the process.
Thrill, did you know Augie Garrido?
I knew Augie real well. Class individual. I mean, one of the best, coaches there were out there, on the college level. I mean, love him to death. He did a great job on the West Coast. Came to Texas and didn't miss a beat and had some freaking unbelievable teams, of which Houston was a big part of.
So you had the luxury to play for a guy that I got to meet and spend some time with at your retirement ceremony, Thrill, and that was Ron Polk.
Ron Polk, another one of the classy coaches in college baseball, a baseball lifer. He just turned 80 years old. Originally came from Tucson, Arizona, was his home. He kind of got his coaching teeth wet in Florida, went to Georgia Southern, and then after that came to Mississippi State and became a college Hall of Fame coach, as did Skip Bertman. Skip Bertman came from Miami, went to LSU, Hall of Fame coach. Augie Garrido went from the West Coast to Texas, Hall of Fame coach. I mean, on the coaching level right now, I mean, it's pretty special to watch some of these guys get inducted into College Hall of Fame. They're awesome.
So when I got to the big leagues, I remember I got called up. I was in Cleveland, and then I went home, got back to Oakland, and on my chair was a handwritten card from Ron Polk.
No way.
Congratulating me for getting to the big leagues. So what he would do is he would send a card to every player that played for him or played against him who got to the big leagues. So fucking awesome. Thoughtful, considerate, just old school in every which way you can imagine.
But that's how it should be.
You loved her. You loved her, right?
Well, I mean, I actually have a similar moment in my life was Roger Clemens. Like I was sitting after my very first outing, I'm sitting in Baltimore and I get back to my hotel room. I'm now like officially a big leaguer, right? Like you've stepped on the field, you've made an appearance, you have a game, and my phone rings. I don't know who it is, but I see the number and I answer and I was like, hello? And, back then it's a flip phone, right? So you can't see it, right? You flip it open. And it was 05, and it was like, hey, Houston, it's Rocket. And I was like, Roger, yes, sir? And he was like, hey, man, just want to congratulate you on being a big leaguer. It's forever now. You fulfilled your dream. Go out there, and kept it short, kept it sweet, kept it simple. But, like, Roger Clemens just called me on my phone.
And he was still pitching.
He was still pitching. Yeah, well, we were teammates the next year on the World Baseball Classic team. But as a player, like to be able to pay it forward, to be able to do that, to show that respect, because it is. We all know how special it was that first day, that first time when you are a big leaguer. There's nothing cooler than that in the world in your own mind, and then to have that recognized by these other dudes who it's Roger Clemens.
Yeah, I think that's an awesome point you just made there, Houston. Is you try to pay it forward, and so like EB knows because we talk about it a lot. But I mean, I go around, I see everybody on my league side of things, and if the guys make the big league team, that's the first thing I do. I drop them a little text, hey man, congratulations on the hard work. All the effort that you put in, got you there. Now put the hard work in to stay there. And, stuff like that, like you said, keep it short and sweet, but acknowledge the fact that, hey, look, now you wanted a gang,
You are, because once you're a big leaguer, you're always a big leaguer. You made it.
So when Roger called, though, it really wasn't like, yo, Houston, Roger. He goes, yo, Houston.
I knew you were going to say
it's a Rocket.
Hey, Houston, it's Rocket.
It's so good.
Yeah, it was so good. Yeah.
But the thrill, you could probably relate, right? I mean.
No, hey, I told you, I was just with Rocket about 2 or 3 weeks ago. They had a big, fundraiser down here for Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, and it wound up being a big LSU thing. But, Rocket was a special guest, and I was able to go spend, 20 minutes with him in the green room, before the thing got going. Took a picture with Trey with him and stuff like that, my son. And, it's special. I mean, because Roger and I faced each other in college. We faced each other on every facet of the major league side of things. And you get that respect. I mean, you just really do get that respect. And, that would be like, me or you facing Houston. It's like, hey, look, man, I got a stud that's out there on the hill here. I got my work cut out for me. I got to pin my ears back because guess what? If you don't treat it as such, a guy like Houston is so good, he'll just bury your ass. And that's the way it is.
So we were in Vegas with Zito and Heron and whoever else, right? Just imagine the ultimate shit show thrill. And we're running around this fucking city like chickens with our heads cut off.
That was 05?
Yeah, it sounds about right.
I can't remember. Yeah.
And so we're upstairs at the Palms Hotel at whatever club it was. And it was thumping, man. I'm at bottles, models, all of it, dude. And sure enough, in the midst of this, and imagine the scene, right? Dimes everywhere. In walks Roger Clemens. It was like the parting of the fucking seas. Whatever I was doing, whatever Heron was doing, whatever Zito was doing, whatever you were doing, we just fucking stopped. And it was like Rocket.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, no fucking shit, dude. Holy cow.
And he's huge.
Fucking Rocket. I'm like, there's not too many things where I'm going to chuck dimes to the side, right? But when Roger Clemens walks in, I mean, they didn't even exist in my world. And that was because of your relationship. And you were saying like, yo, like,
well, I mean, I didn't know him that good, but he was,
how do you end up there that night?
I don't remember. I barely remember. I don't remember a lot of that. I was 21, man. That was 20 years ago. But
hey, but look at it this way too. I mean, another UT guy. So, it's the fact that not only is he, the Rocket, but he's an alumnus, and he makes it a point to reach out to you. It's awesome.
Well, I actually saw him 2 days ago at a TriStar, like, the card signing shows that you go to, and
sure,
Bobby Mentz, and he's like the ultimate gentleman and sweetheart. Anyway, and saw Rocket there, and I mean, like, he's just one of the best guys. He's always treated me with respect. Every time I've asked him to sign anything for my kids, he's offered. Actually, one time we played in the alumni game, and he came, and on everybody's chair was a signed baseball. Everybody's chair was a signed baseball. And then on my chair, because we had talked before the game about my sons, and he's like, how many sons you are? Like, do you have? And I told him 3. And there was like 3 helmets, right, with his like logo of his charity, like Rocket, whatever, Rocket Man or something. And they still have them, and they still think it's the coolest thing in the world. And I have always had a profound respect for the players, the superstars, the elite, the guys like, Mike Trout was another one on my team. My kids still have memories of like playing baseball in the clubhouse with Mike Trout. Like, just the guys that stay humble, the guys that don't like. I just love that idea, that aspect of it. But we did have fun that night.
It reminds me, we were at Fenway Park, and I had my whole family with me, and we were actually with Peter Princey, who is our mutual friend who we're here with in Arizona for the Phoenix Open. But thrill, dude, out comes Houston, and out comes Mike Trout. And at this time, I was done playing. I guess I was working at MLB at the time.
Yeah.
And this is 10 minutes before a game. Takes all of our kids, like, both of these guys are like hugs and this and that. It was just, they don't make them. They don't make them like Trout. Like that, right? There's. It's so rare in today's era to have a throwback like a Mike Trout. What was he like?
Well, he's just humble, right? I mean, at the end of the day, it's humility. But you look at Derek Jeter, right? Like, there's class, there's humility, there's people that take the time, there's people that care about other people genuinely. But it's that humility that doesn't, they're chasing greatness themselves, right? So the process of achieving that level of greatness, the process of getting there requires them to always be getting better, to always be thinking of something more, right? So that means that they themselves they've never arrived. They've got their own confidence, and Trout's one of the most confident guys I've ever met. But he does it in a humility which allows him to interact with everybody just like normal people, because he doesn't think of himself as any better, any worse. He's just trying to get better himself. And I think that in and of itself is what makes all the greats so special, is they've got supreme confidence and absolute humility.
Real quick, Thrill, you know who else is humble? Our title sponsor, Bet Online. Can't forget to get that in there. It's playoff time, and the usual suspects are heading to Vegas for the championship. And our partner, Bet Online, is your number one source for football odds, stats, trends, and lines, with everything from point spreads to hundreds of bets on everything from the coin toss to the color of Gatorade. Bet Online is the number one source for your championship wagering. Head to Bet Online and join today to get into all the action. Bet Online, the game starts here.
Drop a few Alexander Hamiltons on him, baby. Woo!
Hey, you can read an ad, bro. That was good.
Dude, so
that was solid.
For the longest time.
I would never be able to deliver that.
Bro, we don't have, so they change their script every week.
That was good.
And their script, in my opinion, all due respect, Bet Online's unbelievable. You want to go fucking gamble? That's
there you go.
You could bet on 2 frogs fucking there if you wanted to.
You know what?
What would be that bet?
You know what? Two things. Houston just hit on it. It's the little humility type of thing. But the guys who are studs, and I mean just studs. They know how good they are. And they let other people talk about them. They don't need to go around patting themselves on the back and all that sort of stuff. All right. And so when you do bump into one of these guys and they go, hey, I struck you out, back in 93 or whatever. And I'm like, oh, okay. All right. Well, you one of them guys, right? So, the guys who are the studs just let people do the talking for them. And then because they went out there and they did their thing. So that's first off. So that was a great point, Houston. But then second off, we even brought it up in the chat room right here. We got a Michael Kowalski sighting for the first time in
Where's Kowalski?
freaking, how long has it been, Kowalski? Has it been like 8 months, 10 months? What's it been?
Yeah, he's floating over there going through the food line. But I love it. Yeah, he's on there firing away. It's been a minute, man. Yeah, Kowalski picked me up at the airport today. He took me to play some pickleball out here in AZ. He went to a place called the Pickleball. What's it called?
Did you play the pickup games, like where you put your paddle down? Did y'all do that? It was wet too. It was rainy.
That's my style. Yes, I go try to find all the challenge courts.
Really?
In whatever city I'm in.
Yeah. Do you wreck them?
I hunt the best.
Yeah.
Sometimes
you play
sometimes I get wrecked.
Well, I mean, I've played. I haven't played a lot. I wouldn't know what I was doing. I would get smoked. Yeah.
So now you're next to the freaking maniac of all maniacs, right? And he started breaking out this pickleball stuff on me last year. I'm like, oh, what the hell? Now I got to figure out what's going on, right? So I actually watched it on TV.
I might be on your side on this one because here's the thing, right? Like, I still am not sure if it's a sport. No offense.
Dude,
I know him because look, you can't like if you can go from never playing it to 9 months later being like one of the best in the world.
Yeah.
Which is happening. It's happening a lot with the tennis players.
Well, but you have to understand if they're tennis players, right? Like,
you guys see
20 years. But
did you see McEnroe and Sharapova go up against Agassi?
Yeah, but they're the best tennis players in the world.
You want to know who the best player was?
Who?
Jack Sock, the guy who was the actual real pro pickleball player. The other guy that's really good is James Blake. He was on their team. Both of those guys were the ringers, and then the four others were men.
But
it's freaking badminton with a ball. You're playing fucking badminton, and you're hitting it with a goddamn skillet. That's what you're doing.
Bro, that's how they came up with the game. I was researching
all the
last
drop
night.
shots. I sit up there on TV. It's all the
dinks.
The dinks, dude.
Yeah.
You know what? The game needs to evolve a little bit for me to get super. It does.
It doesn't, bro. It is honestly, it's like baseball. It's the perfect game.
Hey,
my God.
Hey,
Josh, it is not baseball.
Hey, Josh even came on the chat room. Hey, look, I love you to death, EB. You're the best in the world, but if I'm going to see pickleball, I want to see a hot chick playing it with a short skirt. Sorry, I ain't watching you.
I'm not saying they would dominate me, and I'm not saying they're not actually athletic.
Have you seen the ass that's playing pickleball? Like, bro, everywhere you go, it is a fucking unbelievable how many hot chicks are playing.
Well, I mean,
everywhere.
I'm single, so.
That's right. Congratulations on your divorce, man.
Well, what? No, I'm not talking about that.
Oh. We have to get into
congratulations.
Well, it's just onward and upward when you're
look, no, my ex-wife's a beautiful human. We just went separate ways.
Yeah.
But I mean,
think about the kids that you got to create. How many? 3 boys?
Dude, we got 3 of the best little boys in the world.
Exactly.
Rifkin, Ryder, and Rafe. They're my heroes, and they're my heaven.
How are they doing?
Dude, they're doing great.
Ages?
How old?
13, 11, and 8, and
nice.
All boys. And Ripken is, teenager now, 7th grade. Ryder's in 5th grade, and dude, they're good though. They're real good. And Rafe is my youngest, and they're all different, but they're all unique. But it's I love being a dad. Being a dad is like what I live for. That's it. That's literally all I ever do. Is if I showed you my Sunday schedule, you'd be like, it was from 9 to 7. But it was and Saturday I was at the ranch. But I love kids, dude.
What do you do at the ranch? Have you been to
Deuces? Texas? We shoot stuff.
You shoot shit.
Yeah, well, you shoot things that.
Have you been to Deuces Wild's ranch?
No, I haven't. But you guys
have you heard about
Texas?
I mean, we gotta hook up. I'm only a state over from him. Where's your place at? Where's your place at?
It's not my ranch. It's not my ranch. Like he said, I got divorced, dude. I don't have any assets anymore.
All right, so where do you hunt in Texas?
My buddy's got a ranch. I've got a few friends with ranches that allow me that kind enough. But it's right outside of Austin, man. He's got a big spread. Nice. He's got a bunch of whitetail. He's got and then a bunch of exotics. And so a lot of time we don't go out and shoot anything or take an animal, especially after the season, but just the hang,
Wait, hold on. When you say exotics, you mean like lions and tigers and shit?
He has giraffes.
You guys are real sick motherfuckers, man.
Hey, some of these ranches in Texas, man, they got like, I don't know, 50, 60 different animals running around out there. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's called Tributary, and it's literally It's one of the greatest places I've ever been. I mean, like I'm very thankful that I get to go out there. But to me, the ranch, the idea of the ranch, Will, it's like it soaks into your soul in a little bit, just being out there, and you know what I mean. It's like nothing that someone from the Northeast like Princey would understand. You know what I mean?
Well, and then not only that,
there, bro.
one of the guys on the chat room, Tommy Luke, he and his buddy Rob, they want me to do, internet and all that sort of shit up at the ranch. I go, no. I go, I don't want it up there. I said, because that's what I'm trying to get away from. I don't want it while I'm there. So that's my getaway, my calm down, my peace and tranquility.
Do you bow hunt or do you?
I do it all. I do it all. I literally do it all.
I haven't gotten to bow hunting yet. I want to get into that.
That's a lot harder, isn't it?
Significantly harder. Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it depends on the length of the shot you're taking with a rifle. If you're taking a 100-yard shot or a 200-yard shot, pretty easy. If you're going to take a 500-yard standing shot, I mean, that's not easy.
But you get a whole new appreciation, Houston, just because they're so much closer. And at 20 yards, I mean, your heart's trying to come out of your
right.
Yes, it's like it's like the 3-2, 2 out space is loaded. You got the ball in your hand. You're like, oh shit.
I mean, I guess the strategy works. Then you just aim down the middle and hope.
There you go.
Right down the middle and hope.
Well, check this out. I want your guys' thoughts on a buddy of mine. His name's Jason Henderson, otherwise known as Hendu. My neighbor up in Tahoe, I played high school baseball and football with him. And he's an avid hunter. And he went on a hunt in Africa. And he killed a fucking mountain lion.
I couldn't kill a cat.
But wait, there's more. With a spear.
Oh, well,
so
he's an idiot.
Basically, bro,
that's so dangerous, bro.
You know how they do it? They fucking hunt the cat. They drive him up into the tree, and then they bait him out of there. And he jumps on you, and when he jumps on you, you got to stick him right in his heart. If you miss the fucking heart, it's you, not him. Woo! That's some kind of rush, huh?
No.
Yeah.
I'll be rushing to the airport, dude.
So hey, we were just bullshitting here for a second. Houston's been through the ringer. He's prepared for the long grind and stuff like that. We got spring training coming up here in a little bit, and I just kind of wanted your thoughts on this. Houston, please chime in on this. Our starting catcher, Patrick Bailey, played in 125 games last year, right? The most he's ever played in his life. And he talked about how he was just absolutely wore to a frazzle. He lost 15 pounds, and he didn't think that he finished out the season the right way and all that sort of stuff. And Eric and I talk about it all the time. It's like, you don't find those everydayers anymore, And so this is the kind of situation when I come in a clubhouse, I'm like, look, dude, you're being thrown into the big leagues here. You're going to catch. I mean, all the pitchers want to throw to you. So you're going to be the frontline catcher out there. You got to take care of yourself. You got to take care of your body. You got to eat right. You got to do all that sort of stuff while you're on the road in order to make it through a full major league season. What do you guys think about that one?
I mean, it's simple for me. I think it starts when they're young, and I think the difference really is mentality, right? I think they're so much more knowledgeable now. But, like, if you don't know any better, you don't know any better. Like, Jason Kendall was our catcher. And Jason was catching 150 games for however many seasons in a row.
That doesn't exist anymore, does it?
Well, it doesn't exist a lot because the organizations don't want it to. But also, too, you got to consider that, like, when they're 13 and 14, they're being told about recovery.
Yeah.
They're being told all these things. And, okay, I don't know if they're throwing any harder right now. I would love to get the radar guns tested. Like, I really would. Like, I go back and watch Tom Seaver and Nolan Ryan and the ball exploding, and I'm like, that you can't throw it harder than that, right? Mm-hmm. Like just to measure the time. But like, so maybe the game is gotten better. I think that, I mean, I look at the hitters today and I am very impressed. Like, I see some of the balls that Acuna is hitting out of the park. I'm like, I don't want to throw that guy. Or, I faced Aaron Judge a little bit, but early on before they'd really figured it out. But the overall mentality of toughness, I think, comes from a very young age when, like, no one told you anything about recovery.
What
So you just pushed yourself until you fell over and over again, which is similar to what happened with me in college, right? Like no one told me you can't go 3 innings on Saturday and 5 innings on Sunday, or 2 innings on Friday and 3 innings on Saturday and 2 innings on Sunday. Like no,
yeah, but hold on a second, dude. Did you ever have an arm injury? Significant?
Not to the end of my career.
Exactly.
Not till 13 years. Yeah,
exactly.
Mean, yeah.
And guess what? You pitch fucking all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're coddling these arms. We're teaching them to throw 1,000 miles per hour, and then everybody's blowing them out, and we're letting them pitch once every blue moon. Well, I think none of these guys have any fucking clue how to sustain longevity.
I think the pendulum will swing back eventually. I mean, I still, as a reliever, and I think I can get them out with the best of them. But like as a reliever, it's hard to go in there and establish a rhythm. It just is. It's hard to do it day in and day out, 75 games a year, to go from I'm on the bench to I'm going in. Versus this guy's gone 6 innings. He's gone 80 pitches. He's going through the lineup the 3rd time. Like, give him the ball. Like, this guy's having a day, and he's a superstar. Like, let him get the next 6 or 7 outs. That's my philosophy. I know the game doesn't play that way anymore because of all the stats and and I don't know all the breakdowns. What I know is, as a reliever, you tell me I got to go face 2, 3, 4 right out the gates. Dude, that's hard.
It's hard.
It's hard to do. I don't care who you are, that's hard to do. But this guy who's in rhythm and going, and he's already got his confidence at peak level. He's gone 6 innings, 1 run, 80 pitches. But I also think that I think that you go look at Nolan Ryan, or you go look at some of these guys who like literally took the ball and they were going to finish the game. And I think that when you start managing different from the front offices into on the bench, I think it changes the mentality of guys. Yeah. Again, now you still see guys like Garrett Cole who want to take the ball and just never come off the field. And I think Verlander's similar. Like you've got some of these older, they're not necessarily Verlander's old, but like he's my age, which is impressive that he's still doing it. But I think that, Will, you said the point about catchers catching. I think I really do go back to the 13, 14, 15, 16, where they're like, I need to recover.
I get what you're saying. So in other words, and then Eric and I talked about this a lot, is they're being coddled at an earlier age so that when it's time to man up, it's hard for them to man up. All right.
Yeah.
I came from the mentality, then Eric and I talked about this because he's directly right behind me, as were you. But it was, hey, look, if I came off the field, somebody might take my job. And that ain't going to happen. I'm staying out there on the field, And especially, I am not coming off the field if I'm on a roll. If I'm on a roll, there ain't no way in God's green earth you get me out of the lineup. And nowadays, we have guys that say, oh, I'm a little worn down. Can I have a day off? I'm like, you asked for a day off? I'm like, you got to be shitting me.
Well, I don't think they're punished for it either. I don't think there's any. I don't think there's any sort of punishment. And look, I'm not going to say that it was better. That I personally think the golden age of baseball was like 96 to or 90, 89. Like you just go look at I was watching the other day the 98 All-Star team and like some of these
I saw that.
Yeah,
you saw that floating around the internet.
Yeah, floating around the internet. That
Instagram. Jeez.
And so like I don't necessarily think that I played in the best era of talent per se, but I think when there's just something about going out and playing 8 hours a day when you're a kid that just develops the game. And it develops your mentality, develops the attitude in a totally different way. But so much of this has to be coming from front offices that are just saying, look, like these are our assets and we're going to hold on to them and we're not going to push them and we're not going to break them. Quick. Kids don't have a choice sometimes.
Thrill, I got a question for you because
Jack.
Back in my day, and which was, still part of your day, we would have the goal of getting the starting pitcher out of the game.
Yeah.
That's without a shadow of doubt.
Right. Like, let's knock his ass out. Let's get in the bullpen. We'll fucking destroy the bullpen.
Especially early in a series.
Dude,
exactly.
Say whatever you want. And you're a reliever, so it's not fair because you easily could have been a starter. your entire career.
No, starters are better.
But relievers are
better.
Relievers are failed starters.
Look, every
that's ultimately
that's what Trevor Hoffman was. That's what Mariano was. Failed starters, right? Dude, starters are better. Like I was a closer, turning over a lineup to having to throw him multitudes of. I couldn't have lived on the outside corner if I had to throw 4 innings in the big leagues. You know what I mean? Like just lived there, right? But I could with 1 inning, right? So you get to pitch a totally different way. These guys have got. I sat and watched the bullpens of our starting pitchers. I'm like,
here's another one. Here's another one for you too, Houston. And Eric and I have even talked about this because going around seeing the minor league teams and stuff like that. If a kid, and it doesn't matter whether it's a starter, whether it's a reliever, whatever. They get in a little bit of a jam, man, these managers are quick to yank them. And I'm like, whoa. And we'll talk about it at the end of the game. It's like, all right, look, I get it. You wanted to win that game and all that sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, that kid's going to have to figure out how to pitch out of a, balls to the wall situation. And, I think that, just bringing another guy in from the pen, is an easy fix instead of letting the kid try to man up and pitch out of a situation.
Well, but what's even I'm at the college level now helping at UT. We don't let our kids call our own game, but none of the colleges do. It's not like we're doing anything different, but there's so many facets of the game that have been taken away from the players. It really is kind of interesting.
We let our fucking 12-year-olds call games.
Yeah, that's because you're smart.
It's what's so amazing about this.
They learn the game.
Well, we give them a game plan, right? When the big donkey comes up there and can hit a ball 350 feet, we say hard in, soft away. I don't care. Hard in, soft away. Every other pitch, hard in, soft. Fastball ins under his hands, breaking balls away. And if you hit them, I don't want our pitcher to hit him, but if we hit him, I don't care. It's all part of it. That's how you pitch the best hitters. Yeah, period. It's not hard.
To your point about having to pitch out of those situations, right? Like, it's hard to pitch tired.
True,
but that's something you have. No. I'm agreeing with him. You have to learn to do that. You have to learn to let that adrenaline build. You have to learn. Like, I need to be just as good on my 88th pitch as I am on Let's say this. It's July, and you've played 17 in a row. I don't know if they still do that. I know they've changed the schedule. But let's say they played 15 in a row, or they played 23 out of 24. And the last 3 games, we've just gotten our brains beaten in. We're still a winning team. But, like, the last 2 days, our bullpens had to chew up, 14 innings. Now I'm the starter, right? My team needs me to go 85. They need me to go 85, right? And if I haven't ever done that, right? That, like, you can give up 4 or 5 runs real quick on 14 pitches when you're tired. You're throwing, stuff that's not moving up there with no life on it. And I think, I'm going to let my kids, once they get above the age of like 13 and 14, stretch to 100.
Fuck yeah.
Because you know what? Like, I refuse to believe that there was 100 years of guys that could do it. And now all of a sudden we can't.
Right. And I totally agree with it. And Eric knows because we had this discussion last year and it was a little bit after spring training. But these kids broke camp and you're talking about AA. You're talking about dudes that are on the cusp, of being in the big leagues. And they had them on a 40 pitch count. I'm like, whoa, wait a second here. Yeah. I go, we just got through it a month and a half of spring training. They should have built up 75, 80 pitches and come out to shoot. 75, 80 pitches, and you're cutting them off at 40 pitches. And that goes back to what you're talking about, Houston. It's like they're not building up. They're not getting that strength, that stamina. They're not getting to the point where when they got their butts in the wall, they got to pitch out of it. And that's what the greats do. You did it. All your predecessors is the fact that, all right, look, I'm scuffling. I'm having problems here. I got traffic on the bases. But I know that if I make a pitch, I get a double play, I get the fuck out of here.
Well, I think I don't think like the players are any less competitive, right? I just think they're not allowed to. Right?
No, I agree. I totally agree. And that's what Eric and I were talking about. And that's why Dusty Baker retired. He didn't want to have to deal with the nerd.
Man, I actually saw Dusty the other day too. He's right. Because Dusty knows that Dusty knows. He's like, you can't tell me after 50 years of intuition, of knowing the game, of feeling the game. It's like how many times, it's like I tell my sons this when you're watching a game, because I tell them all the time about conviction, right? This idea of conviction. I was like, have you ever been watching a game and you just know the pitcher is going to strike him out? 100% that pitcher's more convicted than the hitter. And you ever been watching a game and you could just feel the hitter's about to crush it?
Yeah.
The hitter's more convicted. Well, managers,
but you know what you could tell by number one, or presence on the mound.
Yeah.
Presence. Like I watch a hitter take one pitch.
Feel it.
Just one pitch like this. You watch a hitter take a ball, and you will figure out real fucking quickly whether or not that dude can hit.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is the managers have the same conviction, and there's just, you know, I've never been a manager. I've coached my children, and I know how many thoughts go through my head. I'm watching how he's stepping. I'm watching how he's looking. I'm watching how I've got 11 kids. I'm watching how they're all moving, how they're all stepping. Where's their confidence? Now I'm not coaching to win a Major League Baseball game, but like if you've been a manager like Dusty Baker or some of these guys for 20 and 30 years, think about the amount of knowledge and conviction they have over some of these decisions. And to take that away from them, in my opinion, is to shortchange the game itself, because it's just these guys.
You're losing the feel.
They're smart men. They're baseball. That's the reason they're leaders of, you know.
When you see somebody having success, Thrill, why would you change? It's Andrew Chafin. Kowalski and I went to Diamondbacks camp a few years ago, and we were talking to Andrew Chafin, and we're like, so Andrew, like, you know, what's your pitching philosophy? He goes, well, Southern redneck. Well, if I throw a pitch and they can't hit it, I throw it again.
I love
it. And
that.
it's like, well, hot damn, how about that for a concept, right? If I throw a pitch and they can't hit it, I throw it again. Well, if I have a pitcher on the mound, if I'm a manager, Thrill, and this guy's getting out after out after out, I can tell you from a hitter perspective, if I'm 0 for 2 going into my third at bat, and this guy has carved me up and kept me off balance, and now I'm going to my third at bat, and all of a sudden they're like, boom, let's pull him out of the game because they're scared what I'm going to do to him. I'm like, thank goodness.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as a pitcher, you know, the biggest mistake you can make is throwing a pitch that you're doubting as you're about to throw it, right? And the best position you can be in is, you know, I just threw a pitch and he missed it by 2 feet. Why would I throw him something else? I don't know why. Like, now, if
I could tell you how many discussions I have like that. I'm like,
right?
You just threw him a freaking bastard sinker. He missed it by a foot. Why are you going to a breaking ball?
Yeah.
Throw him another sinker, dumbass.
Yeah,
you know, he wasn't looking for the first time. He ain't going to hit it again. Let's go.
I told a guy the other day, because we were talking about like scouting reports, and I was like, look, like there's some guys that they're good enough to hit all your stuff, and you know that. But most guys have holes. And then most guys have holes that day. Some guys have holes that week. You know, the players that don't make it have holes for a month. You know what I mean? They can't fix whatever. But like, there's certain guys that have holes, and sometimes your game matches up perfectly with their hole. Mm-hmm. Like, don't try to be a complete pitcher in that moment. If I faced a guy, there was one time against the Twins, and I think I threw 17 changeups in a row to end the game. It's my third best pitch, but my slider wasn't working great that day. I was throwing like 89, 90. So like the wind was blowing out. So I had a wind in my face. I could throw a changeup, but like I had a great feel, but I matched up against these guys against the changeup. Like it just was the perfect matchup of 3 different guys. So I just kept throwing it, right? Like, and they say you can't change up off a changeup, but at the end of the day, right? Like the wrong pitch is the pitch that guy can see. And if he swings and misses by a foot, he didn't see it. So you know what I mean? Like if you see it, I don't care if I'm throwing 97, you're going to hit it, right?
Put it this way. Eric and I have this conversation all the time. The best pitch in baseball is a changeup by far. And so
it is.
You keep throwing it as long as you locate it. I keep throwing the son of a gun. The only one that's gonna have problems are the ones that you're gonna leave up and out over. But other than that, you locate it, keep throwing the son of a bitch. All right, while we're on this subject, EB, we talked about this last week. All right, our man Ross Stripling. All right, he said he's throwing a new pitch, a death grip or death ball or whatever the shit it was. So basically, Houston, he's throwing a freaking cement mixer. All right. He's throwing a slider that he doesn't want to break a lot, but he's going to take some velocity off so he gets some downward bite to it.
Under it.
Oh my God! We were reading it and we were laughing and we were giggling and all that shit, right?
Backup slider is how
he's wanting to throw a backup slider that just bites a little bit, and I'm like, okay, whatever. And he's got this freaking name for it, right? Well, now that's literally last week. Now the freaking Giants traded his ass. He's in freaking Oakland now. Here, go throw your fucking backup slider over there.
Yeah, I mean,
oh, dude.
I don't know. Just like
bro, your slider was your best pitch.
Yeah, I don't want it to back up. I mean,
you know what I'm talking about when it backs up and they swing and miss. But the difference between a backup slider and a hanging slider is fucking this much, right?
You can't control that. I mean, look. As someone, I'll put my control up there with anybody ever. You can't control that. I mean, I could conceptualize how I would throw it, how I would like dive into the ball and pull my elbow across and get under it. And then right as I'm going to let go, like pull it down, but not break my wrist and try to get the ball to like come out like this. Yeah. But it looks like I'm coming across the ball.
That's it.
It sounds to me like I'm going to tear my lat off my shoulder. You know what I mean? Like, there's got to be some fluidity to the motion.
Tear your lat and then get your wrist up under the ball and trap everything. Oh my God Almighty!
Yeah, I mean,
but anyway, so
you want it to break big and break sharp. I mean, I'd take Ottavino's breaking ball over a backup slider all day.
No shit. And so we were laughing about it last week. Now he gets traded. I'm like, oh, that's about perfect. So, another guy too, and the reason I'm bringing him up, they just picked up a kid by the name of Ethan Small. He was the Brewers' first round pick in 2019. He's the Mississippi State guy.
Yeah,
all SEC pitcher of the year, All American that year, first round draft pick, and it was in the fallout of the Corbin Burns trade and all that. They freaking turned him loose, and the Giants picked him up. So that might be another left-handed piece to the Giants bullpen this year.
Jorge Soler was a name that was floating around with the Giants. They said they're in talks with the slugger. That was the latest rumor. Is that somebody that you think could have an impact for the Giants this year?
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about a big dude in the middle of the lineup. A guy with a lot of power, has driven in RBIs in the past. And it's no secret we need guys that drive in runs. I mean, we can't keep living with guys that hit 15 and drive in 47. I mean, that's not going to happen. All right. You need somebody to step up and drive you 80, 90, 100 every year. And, if they get Soler, great, but yeah, I mean, he's got a chance.
Need somebody.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Houston, there's 4 major free agents still left on the market. Mm-hmm. You have the Cy Young Award winner, Blake Snell. You have Cody Bellinger coming off a rebound year with the Cubs. Yeah. You have Jordan Montgomery, who was terrific for the World Series champions last year. And then Matt Chapman.
Chapman, man. I love Chapman.
Still without a job. I mean, this is a platinum glove. Third baseman. If you look at his numbers offensively, they're what they are, but not bad. He's going to give you enough offense. At what point are we going to see, number one, these guys sign? It's fucking February 6th.
We're almost there, yeah. I mean, they're starting.
What's going on here?
I don't know. I mean, look, like I want all those guys. You know what I mean? I like Snell a lot. I can't believe he hasn't signed. I can't believe somebody hasn't just backed up the truck on him. But Chapman to me is just one of those guys where I don't know. I don't know how much, all the stats and metrics really are factored. What I know is he might take 3 or 4 outs or hits, but added outs.
Yes.
In a game on balls that other very, very good big leaguers don't make.
Yeah.
And to me as a pitcher, man, that is valuable. across 27 outs. And there is a good chance, especially with the way guys are pitching now and how many, I think he is absolutely a valuable asset to a team. But why are they not signing?
Thrill, a question for you.
I dropped that on you guys earlier. Usually when something like this happens, you go back to the word collusion. I've seen it a few times now in the big leagues, and there's no reason that those individuals that you guys just pointed out have not signed yet. Absolutely no reason. And especially for a guy, and Houston was alluding to it, a guy like Chapman, he's not priced out of the market. So why don't you just go take a gamble and see what happens? I mean, you're taking a gamble on all these other idiots that are hurt and shit. Go take a gamble on a proven third baseman that's a Gold Glover.
So the question then becomes, you give Ohtani $700 million. You give Yamamoto $300 million. You're Snell, and you're looking at this, Houston. I mean, you're a former,
he's won 2
all-star pitcher. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, wait, hold on a second. Now you're telling me that I'm worth $120 million and this motherfucker is getting $300 and he hasn't pitched a single goddamn day in the big leagues? That's a problem.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
Well, I mean, yeah, it is. And I don't know what the behind the scenes conversations are, but I think, he's earned it. And I think it's a bad message to all the other guys. It's hard to be as good as he's been. It's hard to be over a very long, consistent period of time. Again, I don't know what his numbers are, but we kind of mentioned this. Well, like the idea of marketing, like how much is that starting to factor in as the game is getting more global, as the game is getting more, the outreach and like how, if you're doing like the old school Q rating, I don't know what it is now, but the idea of relevancy, and you're talking about selling jerseys and selling caps and selling, season tickets, right? Okay, Blake Snell, great on the mound, but does he move the?
He should.
Or
multiple Cy Young Award winner, lefty, pizzazz. He's out there coaching 12 baseball teams. I have so much respect for this guy. It's incredible.
But winning. Like I used to say this to all my teammates. I was like, guys, winning solves all our problems. Someone's got to drive in the runs. Someone's got to score the runs. Someone's got to get the wins. Someone's got to get the saves. The manager's got to do the right thing. We've got to all stay healthy, right? Winning solves all the problems. So like, give me a winner, right? Like going into the Super Bowl, you're talking about Brock Purdy and how he's been knocked down all year. He's not this good, even though his yards per catch and yards per completion, dude wins, right? Terry Bradshaw won. Tom Brady wins, right? Like, none of those guys I just mentioned are the biggest talents, but they win. They find a way to win. Blake Snell finds a way to win. Like he finds
without a shadow of a doubt.
And he dominates. Like, so he wins and dominates. So there are some guys that'll dominate. Well, y'all can understand this. How many pitchers have y'all faced that dominate, but you still find a way to beat them? You know what I mean? Like they strike out 10, but they go 7 and give up 3. You know what I mean?
I told Eric there were guys, and you've seen it, Houston. I know EB's seen it because we've talked about it before, but there were guys going into the game that you went up there and you said, all we need to do is keep it close because he's going to make a mistake and we're going to blow this thing wide open. And perfect example of that was Sid Fernandez, the left-hander from the Mets, sort of big roly-poly looking guy. Dude, awesome stuff, right? But if you stayed close to him, he always made a mistake. Boom, late in the game, cost him the game. Always.
Yeah, and see the other side of that is like Jared Weaver, right? One of my teammates, Weave. He is one of those guys. Like he walk off the mound, 6 innings, 5 runs, kept us in the game. We won.
Figure it out.
But if we needed him to go 8 innings and give up no runs,
he'd do that too.
Yeah. Like. He rose to the game. He felt like he might not have his best stuff, but we're 4 innings in and we haven't scored. All of a sudden, his stuff gets better because he's a winner. Like winners win, and I just think you surround yourself with a bunch of winners. And there's reasons that some teams with a lot of great players don't win too. That's a mentality in the clubhouse. Winning is a very, very hard thing to do, especially consistently. And when you find some people that know how to do that, like, what was it? Tom Brady, I saw a quote he said the other day. He said, we wanted two things on our team: good teammates and guys who valued winning. Right? Like, that's it. Like, and if you weren't one of those two things, we got rid of you. Mm-hmm. Good teammate and valued winning. But knowing how to win, and knowing you know how to win, those are skills. Those are actual skills.
Dude, EB, you and I talked about that. You and I talked about that a lot. I mean, dude, we've been around those guys. We've been around those guys that weren't on the same page, and they're, you talk to them in the back of the plane. You're like, hey, man, you need to jump on board with the rest of the boys. I mean, we've been doing this now for 6-7 years in a row, making the playoffs, having the good winning seasons. You need to jump on board. If you don't jump on board, I promise you, brother, I'm going to get your ass out of here.
Well,
you can go do it somewhere else.
The Giants, perfect example, Buster Posey.
Yeah.
Like, there's a winning player.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and I tell my sons this all the time, guys. Confidence and belief, those are not emotions. Those are not intangibles. Those are skills. Think of all the thoughts you think that build your own confidence. Think of all the thoughts that you think that create your own belief in yourself. Now flip all that around and you can destroy it all the same.
Yeah.
They're skills. It's a discipline. And the one thing to me that all the greatest players have in common is that discipline to quiet the voice when it's negative, right? I say the greatest players, they turn their peaks into plateaus and their valleys into ditches. You know what I mean? And these guys, they have this skill that is belief, and they have this skill that is confidence, and they know how to nurture it, and they know how to bring it to a team. Buster Posey, prime example of a guy who shows up at San Fran. What do? 10, 12, 14, winning World Series, not with the best teams.
Hey, Thrill, you're one of the best to ever do it in the most clutch situations ever. What allowed you to be able to have success? And I don't want to lead you to this answer, but I'm curious, because when you watch the best in the most pressure-packed situations, it looks like the game slows down for them.
Oh, God, yes. Without a shadow of a doubt. First off, you and I did it. Houston did it. I mean, it's the repetitions, him throwing the bullpens, us taking the bat in practice, taking the ground balls, you taking the fly balls, going back on the ball, coming in on the ball, whatever it might be. But then from a hitter standpoint, it's just the fact that I've done it for so long. I know what I'm doing. Now I just got to concentrate. And it's amazing when you concentrate how, like you said, everything sort of slows down. You take a deep breath. Just take a deep breath. Everything slows down. And, man, the release point is there. You see the ball really good, and everything else is second nature. It's what I've been doing in batting practice for the last 10 years. I'm going to let the big dog eat and then, try to find the green grass out there. That's it.
Houston. Mm-hmm. Toughest, you mentioned you faced Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
You played with Mike Trout. Did you ever face him?
I did. I think I faced him twice.
Okay.
Yeah, the first couple years, though.
Toughest hitter you ever faced?
Well, this is a two-part answer. So there's one guy who I never got out, which was Correa. He's 5 for 5 off me. But I was he has 2 infield hits, and then he has 3 absolute rockets, like liftoff balls. He never hit a homer, but he did hit a ball in Houston. But it wasn't my toughest at bat. I was ahead 0-2 every at bat.
Sure,
he just battled me. And early on in my career, a guy was Michael Young. Was a guy that's
so good.
Right?
So good.
Just sure swing, quick hands, simple approach, spread out. Tough to get out. Could just knew how to extend an at bat. Pedroia had great success against me, but again, but the one guy, my kryptonite. Now, if you go look at the stats, you don't see a dominant thing, but I'm talking fear. Like the only guy, Matt Stairs, bro.
Come on!
I'm telling you, his swing matched up perfectly with my game, dude. perfectly. Just my little baby 89, 92 sinker to the middle and his little loop right at the end. You know what I mean? And my backdoor slider. And it just like, I mean, dude, so one day this is the beginning of the season in May and I'm on the Rockies and my life is on the line. Like I just got traded from Oakland. I'd lost my closer's job to Ziegler. And like my career was like, I came out hot in 05 and 06. And then, just, 7 and 8 were like lackluster health, but also performance, just average kind of years. So anyway, I get traded to Colorado, and I've now lost my closer's job in Colorado in the first month in April because the ball was coming out of my hand poo-poo. And anyway, I have it at bat. I got bases loaded, nobody out, and up walks Matt Stairs, bro. And so anyway, 3-2, I throw him just the change up where I just manipulate. I was willing to rip my shoulder off my body just because my life was on the line, right? Like he hits a grand slam and like I'm done. They're retiring me right then. Anyway, he screws himself into the ground, swings and misses by the grace of God. After the game, he's at Capitol Grill and I run into Joe Blanton, who was his teammate. Yeah. And he was like, bro, your buddy got so lucky. It was like it was one of those balls. Will, he said I talked to him about it later. He's like, when you threw me that changeup, it looked like a beach ball coming at me. And I swung, I thought I was gonna hit it out of the stadium. And it was one of those ones you just swing, you don't know how you missed. Yep. And I said it was divine intervention. Like it was the only way. But he was like, he literally told Joe Blanton, I own him and he knows it. And I did know it. And it was, but I think he's like 4 for 11 off me career, 4 for 13. But every single time his bat touched the ball, I got a loss and a blown save every single time.
Thrill, I'm going to reverse the question back to you and say, is there one pitcher throughout the course of your career, we've talked about this a few different times, that when you saw him out of the mound, it was like, oh, fuck.
I already told you, and Houston fits that mode perfect. It's anybody with a good changeup. I mean, it's the best pitch in baseball. We said it a minute ago. I know that if you're facing a Maddox or a Glavine or a Jamie Moyer or John Tudor, I know that I have my work cut out for me because they're going to do a great job of changing speeds and they're going to locate specifically down. So a good changeup, a specific guy, EB, you and I talk about it. Look, when you're in the middle of the lineup, you face everybody. You face everybody's number 1, number 2, number 3. You face their closer. You face all the relievers. So there's not a guy that I'm scared of, but there's a guy that I know that I have to do my work better, and it's that guy with a good changeup. Yeah. If you pin your ears back, all right. So in my era, all right, Houston, this is for you. So a lot of guys, 92 to 94 sinker slider guys, that was my bread and butter, dude. If you tell me that dude, I've never faced him before, that's a sinker slider guy, I'm like, hang on one second, let me run to the bat rack here. So
that's the AWR, the average white right-hander.
But you can keep your hands back so well and still get there and then throw your hands at it. I love watching it because I watched him hit a lot.
You had to watch him growing up playing for the Rangers, right?
I traded a Bo Jackson card for a Will Clark card. 100% to Scott McMahon when I was 5 years old. I'll never forget it.
Bo Jackson, 87 Donruss rated.
It was the one where he's sitting in the dugout. You know what I mean? And I just like my friend Will, his little brother Will had a Will Clark card, and I didn't have a Will Clark card. So I was like, I wanted one, and I had like 4 Bo Jackson cards, and I was like, you can have 2 Bo Jackson cards. I didn't care, so I traded for one of his cards. Yeah.
Hey,
100%. I would do it, but I grew up watching Love. I mean, my dad would put, back then it was 2 channels, WGN, right, and TBS, and so my dad would always put like a little Post-it on my bedside of the pitching matchups that day, like a little, you know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah. And so I'd wake up in the morning before you go to work and you put a Post-it, so I would know to come home like, do I want to sit down and watch that game, or am I going to go out and play in the woods or something? You know what I mean? And so like the game that Maddox, the famous game where he threw 78 pitches, I watched the entire game. like watched the entire game. Like sat there and watched the whole game, made myself a little ranch salad, and yeah, like it was. I would go home, and if there was back then you had Glavin, you had Smoltz, you had Millwood, you had Steve Avery,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Obviously Maddox. And so, like that was just the hit. So I went home and watched baseball all day long. And obviously those two channels, it's National League. So like I watched you play a ton.
Yeah. Yeah. So you even mentioned it, I mean, and Eric knows, everybody in the chat room knows, because we've talked about it before, but Millwood was my Matt Stairs.
Was he?
So yeah, he probably,
he was huge.
Yeah. Oh, he was.
And his ball had such ride, man.
Dude, he threw me so much stuff, and it was just that guy. I mean, and Eric and I talk about it. It's like there are guys that make a mistake and you never miss it, and then there's other guys that make a mistake all the time and you follow it off, pop it up, whatever, and you're like, what the hell's going on? And Millwood was my guy. I don't know why.
Yeah, he was good hitting, dude. Right? Like I remember.
No, he was good for like 3. Dude, he shoved for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd have to go back and look at numbers.
Houston's right. He had like 17, 18 wins, like 3 or 4 years in a row. And the whole time he's doing that, I'm just.
Yeah, but fuck, dude. Like Kevin Millwood was on the mound. But I'm looking forward to that start.
Well, because you don't have to face Avery and Maddox and Smoltz and Glavin. But I mean, dude, there was a 2-year period in there I vividly remember where Millwood I mean, he was
on
that staff.
Oh yeah, without a shadow of a doubt.
Dude.
Yeah.
Like I mean, dude, that 95 team, 92, 93, 94, 95, 90, like those Braves teams were like, I just loved Ron Gant, dude. I just loved those biceps.
Were those
how big? I just love.
Did you play with Ronnie?
What?
You didn't get to play with him, did you?
Oh no,
he's fucking great. He's one of my favorite teammates of all time.
Was he really?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
One of the best.
I love that.
Did you ever cross paths with Ron Gant? I mean, obviously played.
Well, I mean, yeah, on the field all the time. I mean, he's at first base. We talked shop. He was a great dude. I love Ronnie.
Great dude.
I love Ronnie.
All right, Thrill. Anything else you want to get off your chest as we both have dinner sitting here staring us in the face?
Thank you for having me. This is fun.
I mean, you come join us whenever you want,
I like this.
Hey, you can come on whenever you want. This is what we do. We cut up, talk shop, and then if there's some news on here, we get after the news a little bit. But it was pretty slow this week.
We'll have you back on too. The other thing we do is that we'll be sitting here at home and all the fucking games on the background.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And we'll just be talking games as they're going.
Hey, let me ask you this. Burnsy. What the shit are you doing outside when it's freaking 22 degrees or 0 degrees or whatever? You're playing in the snow with shorts on, no shirt. What is your freaking problem?
Cold exposure is incredible for your health, Thrill. So
oh my God!
When you shock the system by going out into the freezing ass cold,
proteins from your liver and the brown fat.
You got it. Houston's got it. That's it, man. I'm looking for that next just electricity entering my body, and fucking the cold does it for me, man.
Hey, you got issues, dude. You got issues. You say I'm from fucking backwoods Louisiana. You're in fucking mountains of Truckee, California, fucking running around in your underwear in the snow, you dummy.
Oh, I love my life.
Oh, yes, you do. Yes, you do. Hey, Houston, man, thanks so much for coming on, man.
Hey, this was awesome. Thanks for having me. Thanks for giving me the time. I appreciate it.
Hey, does Houston? I don't think Houston understands or knows or gets exactly how we send this thing off, Thrill. So I'll go ahead and let you do it.
Hey, for everybody in the audience, we'll see you next week. And in the meantime, see ya! See ya!